It was a muggy Wednesday afternoon in mid-July, and I was parked at the little desk in our living room, laptop open to a data model for a client, a food delivery startup up in Boston. My phone buzzed against the wood. The screen lit up, Dad. I stared at it longer than I should have. Same as always. My heart didn't race anymore. It just sank, heavy and familiar, like a stone weight dangling inside my chest. I swiped to answer, kept my voice steady. Hey! His voice came through rough, still carrying that thick South Florida drawl. Elias, you doing okay, son? Yeah, fine. You? Same old. Heart's better, the doc says no surgery for now. But I was thinking about coming up to Boston for a few days. You got time? I went quiet. This wasn't the first time he'd floated the idea. Last visit. A few days ended with him sitting across from me at the coffee shop near campus, eyes bloodshot, asking for $500 to cover a short-term thing. I handed it over. He flew back to Florida. 3 months later, the phone rang again. Same cycle. I glanced out the window. Late afternoon rain was spitting against the glass on Highland Avenue, pooling in shallow puddles on the sidewalk. Julian wasn't home yet. Meeting ran till 8, like last week. I'm slammed, I said. New project, deadlines stacked up. I won't stay long, just a couple days. I won't be in your hair. I want to see you and meet your boyfriend. Heard you two are living together now. My grip tightened on the phone. He knew about Julian. I'd mentioned him to Mom once, and of course she'd passed it along. But the picture of Dad here in our apartment sank into the couch we picked out together, eyeing Julian with that mix of curiosity and calculation. It made my stomach twist. Dad, maybe another time. I'm trying to save right now. Silence stretched. Then his voice dropped lower. You still mad at me? I know I fucked up a lot, but I'm trying to do better. I just want to see you happy, kid. I didn't answer right away. My brain was already running numbers. Round-trip flight from Florida to Boston, $300 if he bought it himself. Food, Ubers, incidentals, another $200 or $300 easy. I couldn't let him crash at a hotel. He'd expect me to cover it. And if he stayed here, Julian would see everything. The way Dad talked, the way his eyes scanned the place like he was pricing it, the casual mentions of cash. I'll think about it, I said finally. But don't book anything yet. Let me figure it out. Okay, think it over. I'll wait to hear from you. The call ended. I set the phone down, stared at the blank screen. No anger flared up, just exhaustion. Bone-deep tired from handling this shit solo, the way I'd been doing since I was 15. I didn't tell Julian the second he walked in. Not because I was hiding it, I just didn't know how to start. He was still figuring out how to fit into my world, still learning the jagged edges. If I told him now, he'd worry. He'd ask questions. He'd offer to help. And I didn't want his help. Not because I didn't trust him, because I was terrified that if he stepped in, Dad would sniff out that I had someone well off now, and the whole damn cycle would kick off again. I got up, went to the kitchen, brewed a black coffee, took a sip, bitter as hell. Opened the fridge, eyes landing on the financial plan Julian had taped there from day one. The emergency fund line read $2,800 now. If Dad showed up, that number would drop. And if it dropped, I'd be back to picking up extra gigs, trading sleep for cash. Julian got home at 9:15. Door creaked open. He kicked off his shoes in the entryway, gave that tired half-smile. Hey, I'm back. Client kept making me walk through the forecasting model 3 fucking times. I'm wiped. He wandered into the kitchen, spotted me at the table with the cold mug. Stopped. You okay? You look off. I met his eyes. The words were right there, but they stuck. Instead, I just nodded. Yeah, just tired. He pulled out the chair across from me, reached for my hand. His fingers were warm, still shaky from the long day. If something's up, tell me. Don't carry it alone. I nodded again. Didn't say more. He stood, headed for the shower. I stayed put, listening to the water run. In my head, the call kept replaying. Dad's sitting right here, voice gravelly asking Julian, So what does my boy do that pays so well? I wasn't scared Dad would hassle Julian. I was scared of myself. Scared I'd slide right back into being the guy who handled everything alone, even with someone right beside me now. I got up, killed the kitchen light, walked to the bedroom, climbed into bed first. When Julian came out, he switched off the lamp, slid in behind me, wrapped an arm around my waist. He didn't push, just murmured against my neck, "Night, Elias." I lay there, eyes open in the dark. His hold was solid, steady. But inside, the distance wasn't between us. It was between the old habits I couldn't shake and this new life we were building. I knew I had to tell him, soon. But tonight, I stayed quiet. Let him hold me, pretended everything was fine. Because if I said it out loud right now, I was afraid he'd see I still didn't fully believe I didn't have to face shit alone anymore. July ended with a sticky Friday night. The Boston air thick as maple syrup, pressing down on everything. Mr. Hargrove texted Julian Thursday morning, "Dinner at the house tomorrow, 7 sharp. Bring Elias." Not an invitation, an instruction. Julian read it out loud over breakfast, voice a little tight as he held his coffee mug like it was a shield. "I think Dad wants to run the numbers," he said, eyes flicking to mine. "Not on me, on us." I nodded. "I know." I wasn't worried he'd try to throw me out. He'd already swallowed the pill, grudgingly, back at that steakhouse dinner last year. But I knew his type, businessman through and through. Everything had a valuation. And me, starting salary $62,000, small firm, 28 grand left in student loans, I was a high-risk asset in his ledger. We pulled up to Back Bay at 6:45. Julian drove, knuckles white on the wheel more than usual. I'd put on my cleanest white button-down and black slacks. The best outfit I owned, snagged on sale at Macy's last summer. Not to impress, just so I wouldn't embarrass him. The Hargrove townhouse sat on a quiet brick street. Red brick facade, tall windows, heavy drapes. The door opened to a middle-aged housekeeper, hair in a neat bun, polite smile. We stepped into the foyer. The smell hit me first. Polished wood and something rich grilling. Mr. Hargrove waited at the end of the hall in a light gray suit, silver hair clipped short and precise. He shook Julian's hand first, gave his son a quick shoulder pat, then turned to me. "Elias," he said, voice low and solid. "Good to see you again." "Mr. Hargrove," I answered, meeting his grip. His hand was dry, firm, steady. Dinner was laid out in the long dining room. Gleaming walnut table, crystal chandelier throwing warm gold light. Arugula salad with goat cheese and toasted walnuts to start. Mr. Hargrove took the head of the table, Julian on his right, me on his left. No one else, no ex-wife long gone. No siblings. Just the three of us. He went straight for my job. No small talk. "What does your company do?" "Exactly?" "Data consulting for local startups," I said. "Customer behavior analysis, revenue forecasting, operational cost optimization." He nodded slowly. "Starting salary? $62,000 a year." One eyebrow lifted just a fraction. No comment, but the lift said enough. He was already stacking it against Julian's 65-plus potential bonus. "Career track," he pressed. "How long till senior analyst?" "Manager." "I'm an analyst now." "Strong performance, maybe senior in 2 years." "Small company means the path's more flexible, but less big network access." Another nod. "Small firms let you learn fast. Big firms open real doors." Julian cut in, tone light but firm. "Dad, Elias is killing it. His clients love his forecasting models. Last week, a Cambridge startup floated a long-term partnership." Mr. Hargrove looked from Julian to me. "Good. I don't doubt your ability, Elias. It's just, Julian had other options once. Bigger. Safer." I held his gaze. "I know, and I'm not the safe bet. But Julian picked me. Not because it was safe. Because he wanted to." The room went quiet. Mr. Hargrove sliced into the grilled ribeye main course, slow and deliberate. Under the table, Julian's fingers brushed mine. Not comforting exactly, just reminding me, I'm right here. He shifted to Julian then. Internship updates, projects, expected bonus. Julian answered clear and confident. More than he used to. Mr. Hargrove nodded, pleased. But every time he praised Julian, I felt the invisible shove. Pushed to the margin, not attacked outright, just quietly measured and found wanting. My firm was small, my pay lower, my trajectory slower. And Julian, even changed, was still his son, the one who could have had the whole menu. Dessert arrived, homemade tiramisu, and Mr. Hargrove looked at me one last time. What's your plan long-term? House? Family? Or just getting by? I set my spoon down. We're saving for a place. Target 3rd year. Not Back Bay, Quincy, or Somerville. Realistic. And we'll get there. He studied me longer. No smile, no frown. Realistic is smart. Just don't let realistic clip my son's wings. Julian started to speak, but I squeezed his hand under the table. Let me handle this. I'm not clipping Julian's wings, I said. I'm helping him see that the Real win isn't always the biggest deal. It's standing steady when no one's there to prop you up. Mr. Hargrove went still. Then he gave one small nod, not full agreement but not disagreement either. Dinner wrapped at 9:30. He walked us to the door, shook my hand again. This time his grip felt a shade warmer. Take care of my boy, he said quietly. I will, I answered. On the drive back to Somerville, Julian stayed silent for a long stretch. Then, I'm sorry, Dad. He's used to measuring everything. He didn't mean to make it hard on you. I know, I said. And I'm not mad. I just hate feeling like I need defending. He nodded. Got it. Next time I'll talk to him first. I watched the streetlights slide by, soft orange gold. I thought about the meal, arugula salad, grilled ribeye, tiramisu, things I didn't eat every day. And I thought about our little Somerville apartment, where we were headed, where I could cook white rice and stir-fried beef with onions and no one would ask about my starting salary. Julian stopped at a red light, turned to look at me. Thanks for coming. And for saying what you said. I nodded. No need for more words. When we got home, I kicked off my shoes, went straight to the kitchen, boiled water for 2 mugs of tea. Julian dropped onto the couch. I carried the mugs over, sat beside him. We drank in silence. Not heavy, just the quiet that comes after a long evening. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to prove anything. Being here next to him was enough. It was a Thursday night in mid-August when I got home earlier than usual. The client canceled our last-minute meeting, so I wrapped up by 5:30. I stopped at the old convenience store on Commonwealth, grabbed 2 cheap cans of Miller Lite, and headed back to Somerville. Julian wasn't home yet. He'd texted earlier. Client event tonight at the Pru. Running late. Don't wait up for dinner. I didn't. I cracked 1 beer, sank into the couch with my laptop, and started reviewing next week's data model. The ceiling fan hummed overhead. Cars hissed past on Highland Avenue. The apartment was so quiet I could hear the key turn in the lock when Julian walked in at 10 to 10. He stepped inside, white dress shirt a little wrinkled, tie already loosened and dangling from his hand. A faint trace of cologne mixed with cigar smoke. Not his usual scent, but the leftover smell of conference rooms and networking lounges. He kicked off his shoes, hung the suit jacket on the hook, then looked at me. Hey, I'm back, he said, voice tired but still trying for a smile. Event was packed. Tons of finance people. He went to the kitchen for water, then came back and sat beside me on the couch. No immediate hug like usual. He sat upright, bottle in both hands, staring at the floor. Marcus was there, he said quietly. I didn't flinch, just gave a small nod, waiting. Not on purpose. Same client, same room. He said hi, asked about work, then sent a follow-up email right after the event. Big real estate deal in Boston. Needs strategy consulting. Said if we teamed up, it'd be good for both sides. Not getting back together. Just business. He passed me his phone. The email was already open. Julian, great seeing you tonight. This deal has serious legs. Projected IRR 18-22%. You're still the sharpest guy I've ever worked with. If you're interested, happy to set up a call next week. No pressure. Just an opportunity. I read it, handed the phone back. Didn't speak right away. My brain was already running. Marcus wasn't a villain. Polite, professional. But he was still the past with the Charles River condo view, the Prue mixers, the power couple version of Julian. Julian watched me, waiting. I turned it down, he said. Replied from the car on the way home. Thanks, but I'm focused on current projects. Good luck with the deal. I nodded. Good. He let out a long breath, like he'd been holding it for hours. I didn't want to hide it from you. Figured I should just tell you. I know, I said. Thanks for telling me. We sat in silence for a minute. He leaned his head back against the couch, eyes closed. I studied him. Hair mussed from the night wind, top 2 buttons undone, collarbones showing. He looked worn out. I got up, went to the fridge, pulled out the second beer, cracked it open and handed it to him. He took it, drank a long swallow. You, thinking anything? He asked softly. I sat back down, stared at the can in my hand. I think Marcus still sees the old Julian Hargrove, the one who can bring value to a deal. But you're different. He nodded slowly. Yeah, and I don't want to go back to that. We didn't say more. He leaned his head onto my shoulder. I let him. The wall clock ticked. Distant cars droned. I thought about those nights in Alston when we'd sit on the floor sharing a basket of fries, when he'd rest his head on my shoulder without needing to explain. Felt the same now. But something had shifted, an invisible line between the world he used to live in and the one we were building. We went to bed early that night. Julian curled around me from behind like always. He whispered against my neck, I love you, Elias. Not because of deals, not because of anything else. Just because it's you. I squeezed his hand. I know. But after he fell asleep, I lay there staring at the ceiling. It wasn't anger at Marcus. It wasn't fear he'd come back. It was a quiet question. Where do I stand in Julian's life? Am I the guy he chose because he loves me, or the guy who helps prove he's changed? I didn't have a clean answer. Only that if Marcus was the past, I had to be the present. And the future. I rolled over, watched him sleep. Eyes closed, long lashes, steady breathing. I reached out, brushed his hair back gently, then shut my own eyes. Tonight I didn't run the risk calculations. I just let him hold me and hoped the distance wouldn't grow. Because no matter how many times Marcus shows up, Julian still comes home to me. And home is this, Somerville. 2 cans of beer. An embrace in the dark.